Hey team, Coach Carson. This is a short announcement to let all of you on the YouTube channel and the podcast know what you can expect from me here on the channel in the second half of 2022. As many of you know, my family and I are going to be moving to live in Spain for the next 12 months. And because of that, I've gotten a few questions from some of you about, number one, will I be producing any content and sharing it here on the channel? And also, what am I doing while I'm in Spain? So I thought I'd just share a little bit of both of those answers with you. For the first question about Coach Carson content, the short answer is yes, I'm still going to be producing content. In particular, my Monday long form podcast episodes will be just about the same as they've always been, and I plan on still producing those throughout the rest of this year. The only change I will make is on Fridays. Typically, those are my short form YouTube episodes. A lot of times I pull out the whiteboard and do a tutorial or teach something. Those are a little bit harder to produce, and I'm going to be getting set up in Spain, so maybe later in the year, but I'll have fewer of the Friday episodes, probably every other week, and I am going to still be doing the Ask Coach podcast episodes. So keep your questions coming. You can leave them in the comments on YouTube. You can email them to podcast@coachcarson.com. And I'd always love to hear from you. One bigger change that I am making this fall is that I'm not going to be teaching my real estate deal school course, which is a boot camp style course where I teach people and go through live with you to help you buy your next investment property. This is a really tough decision for me personally. I've been teaching this course every spring and fall since 2017, and there's been a lot of students that I've loved engaging with. It's one of my most fun parts of the year, but with the time change and with a lot of things going on, just wanted to put it on hold, and I do plan on teaching it again in the spring. So if you're interested in working with me live, and you can repeat the course indefinitely into the future, if you're interested in that, it'll be available again in the spring of 2023. Finally, on the content front, I'm going to be publishing a series of what are called Best of Coach Carson podcast episodes on the Monday podcast. And I've taken the top 7 or 8 most downloaded episodes from the podcast over the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm going to share those with you again. So a lot of you I know are new to the show, and you've probably never heard these before. And even those of you who have been listening for a long time, I'm pulling these and dusting these back off because they've been some of the more popular. People have really enjoyed them and given me a lot of great feedback. So be on the lookout for those as well. So now on to the second question of what in the world are you and your family going to be doing while you're living in Spain? So my kids are going to be going to school there, so hopefully that will go well. Before we get started with the regular public schools, we are going to be going to language schools, and we all speak Spanish or have spoken in the past. My wife is fluent and teaches Spanish as a professor, but we're going to be going to some one-on-one and small group Spanish classes for a few weeks to try to rekindle some of that we used to speak in Ecuador. So that's a first priority, but then they'll be going to normal school. We're trying to have some normalcy with activities. They take music lessons, for example, and maybe we'll find some sports activities. So we're trying to be just as normal as we can in terms of lifestyle. Obviously, we're living in another country, and we're going to kind of go with the flow in terms of some of those different customs and habits and timetables, eating later in Spain, things like that. But that's kind of a typical kind of family activity. My wife is going to be teaching English and volunteering with that. She is a Spanish professor, or a language professor by trade, and she's interested in volunteering and working with people there on languages. So we'll see how that goes. And then for my own schedule, I am cutting back a little bit, as I told you, on some of the content production, but I will be writing a book. So that's coming out in 2023. So try to do that every morning if I can for at least an hour or two, doing some writing. I'm also going to be sharing maybe once a month, just an update on what's going on with us in the family, maybe just something interesting going on, either with a YouTube video or maybe also with a little bit of a blog post. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. If you want me to hear some more from me about what our lifestyle is like in Spain, any particular questions you have for me or for our family, I would love to hear from you on that. Another thing I'm really looking forward to is just slowing down in general. Some of the many retirements that we've taken in the past, where we've gone to live in Ecuador or gone to South America and Spain in the past, have been very beneficial for me just in the slowing down of the pace of life. Now, part of that is we are visitors in another country and our job responsibilities are a lot less. But part of it also for me is the Spanish and the Hispanic culture of slowing down, of enjoying your meals, of enjoying family, having time to space, to think, to take walks. So that's a lot of what I'm going to be doing, just a little bit of nothing as much as I can. And included in that doing nothing is also going to be some traveling. Being in Europe, we plan on going to different destinations when we can to get out of town. You're a short flight or a train ride away from a lot of amazing places inside of Spain, but we also plan to go back to Northern Europe some. I spoke German and traveled, studied abroad there in college, and so I'd like to go back to Germany to visit some friends there. I'd like to visit the Netherlands, perhaps Denmark as well. I'm a kind of a biking infrastructure nerd, and so I like to just see what it's like when it's more pedestrian and bike friendly, and those are some of the best places in the world to do that. And my kids have Greece and Italy on their radar as well, and they have been reading a lot about ancient Greece, the Percy Jackson stories as well, with a lot of Greek mythology built into modern American culture. So we're going to go on some history tours and explore there as well. And my wife's family on one side is from Croatia, so we're going to visit there. And I'm sure other places that come up that are interesting as well. So we have a lot of plans to do some traveling within Europe and really hope to explore and do more of that. So that's all I have for you in this short episode. Just want to emphasize that I'd love to hear from you. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment below with any feedback on this show, but really any feedback in general, what you like to see more of, any questions you have for me about the Spain trip or anything else going on with the Coach Carson platform. And if you're listening on the podcast, feel free to send an email to podcast@coachcarson.com. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, you've been listening to Coach Carson. My mission here is to help you get out of the financial grind so you can do more of what matters. See you next time.